Hi, this is Melanie of Pardesi Reviews, and I have two special guests today. I have Kathy of Cinemondo Podcast and Ahmed of D54, and we're going to talk about the Tamil film Maamannan, which just has come onto Netflix streaming. Okay, this movie, guys.
Wow. It's easy to get. That's one good thing.
Yeah,
it's
and
I watch it for free on Netflix.
So this director, Mari Selvaraj, his debut movie was Periyaram Perumal, which was amazing. It came out in 2018. Okay. About an oppressed caste guy that falls in with a college romance, and then things happen to him. Then he had his second film was Karnan, starring Dhanush, and that came out in 2021. And now this is his third film, and it's his first partnership with the composer A.R. Rahman. And one of the stars of the film, I'm going to murder this, I'm sorry, Udhayanidhi Stalin, who plays one of the main roles in the film. He's the son of the title character. He was also the producer of the film.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
So, and he also, I learned that he is the son of a chief minister of Tamil Nadu, and he's the grandson. So, film and politics.
Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, that's wild. Okay.
Yeah. So,
all right, so he's got an opinion.
Anyway, so this film also stars Fahadh Faasil as the antagonist, a very extremely negative character.
Oh, boy.
Negative.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was not nice.
All right. First of all, let's give it up for Fahad, because there's not many leading actors who are willing to take such negative roles.
That's
right.
True.
I mean, like, this is a really negative role. Like, so
it's just beyond.
Kathy, you want to tell everybody why? Because we're just going to see all these horrible scenes.
I know Fahad kind of broke my heart a little bit in this movie, because I love Fahad Faasil. He plays a huge range of characters from good to bad, and he always pulls it off, but he always brings like some heart and some sympathy and depth. You're never feeling he's just this one-dimensional bad guy or this, saccharine good guy. He's always got a lot going on, whatever he's doing. And so in this movie, he's playing a villain who part of his interests are racing dogs, these Indian hounds, and beautiful, kind of like greyhounds, but they have the the floppy ears. So he has like at least usually 20 of them following him around everywhere. So he's racing these dogs, but when they don't win, it doesn't go well for the dogs. And so there's an actual scene which will haunt my dreams forever. It's my Fahad Faasil, Fafa, beating a dog with a sledgehammer. Literally, this longest scene went on and on until it's like a mush.
It went on for 3 hours. Just that.
I was fast forwarding it. I'm like, it's got to be over now. I'm like, what? It's still on. Like, it's just way too long. So I thought, so they did that. That's bad. And then usually films will have one moment of animal violence and they've kind of made their point. But this film is just nonstop, one after the other, constant animal violence and violence against kids. So I feel like they picked these kind of cheap targets. And I know it's symbolic. A lot of it was, symbolic.
Right.
But I feel like that's repelling to an audience, to me, because I wanted to see this movie. I wanted to relate to what they were trying to tell me, but I was so put off by the presentation of how they decided to portray these symbols. And I feel like no one wants to see that. I don't know why filmmakers insist on showing animal violence. And this wasn't just like, little animal violence or whatever, like shoots. This was cruel, endless, terrible scenes over pigs, dogs. Baby pig at the end did not make up for all of the terrible stuff they did for that. So that's my soapbox initial impression was it took the movie down a notch for me. It took Fahad down a notch. I'll forgive him. I know. But right now, I'm mad at him. So he said yes to this role.
Definitely, this director has animal symbolism in each of his films.
Yes.
And in the first film, the young college student who's from the oppressed caste, he owns a hound similar to the ones that Fahad, and it's a major plot point that his dog is killed by other people because being from the oppressed caste, he shouldn't be allowed to own a dog like that. That a dog like that is only for the landowners, kind of class of people. And he keeps seeing the dog, though, painted blue, which is a very symbolic color for, oppressed caste freedom. And he keeps seeing this dog in a dream sequence. And then there's a very important donkey incarnate, but I think, this definitely, pigs are a symbol. I don't know how you felt, because people, I'm an outsider, right? When I hear some characters saying some pigs are in the temple pond, we need to go deal with this.
Yeah, that's
right. Like I was not expecting, and also a scene that went on for eternity of kids being pelted with rocks. It was so hard to watch. And so they're calling these kids pigs, but then the actor, Vera, I think his character's name is Vera. He even has a tattoo of a pig. He raises pigs.
He loves pigs, paints pigs.
Right. That is what they call his classes, in a derogatory way, but he has taken ownership of it. He's even tattooed it on his hand, and he raises, pigs with love and whatever. And so the ultimate injury is that most of his pigs are killed at one point in the movie. Oh my God. It's just okay. So we're talking about all the negative.
Okay. Tell us your.
I didn't let you get up word in it.
We kind of ranted. It's your turn.
No. Okay. Look. I think. Well, firstly on Fahad. Like you get a huge fan of Fahad, and he's having a really interesting year. I have to say. Because earlier this year he did this movie, Pachuam. Atubata Vilikum, which was really nice, heartwarming, really beautiful movie.
Family.
And you really love him in that movie, actually. So to go from that extreme to seeing him basically within the first 5 minutes take a sledgehammer and do what he does. Oh God, it was hard to stomach watching some of these scenes. And I think you guys have mentioned that, but as you sort of said, credit to him for sort of doing this role. It's strange because he has played despicable characters before. I think watching him in a movie like Joji, where you really, at the end of the day, you're like, man, I hate this creep. Like, I hate him. But you work your way to that, Right. In this movie, after you start a movie off by doing what you do in the first 5 minutes, there's no going up or down. You're right. You're there. You're as hateable as you can be, you know? So unless you're going to become a good guy somehow, which doesn't happen, then I don't really know what else to do with that. So I enjoyed Fahad in this. He obviously brings the intensity that he does naturally in everything. Like, you see him in his earlier movies, and he did that as well. That's what he can do with his eyes closed. Not literally, but
don't close the eyes.
Are you kidding me?
Don't you dare close your eyes.
But he can do that with ease. So, this role for me was like, I appreciated him doing a Tamil movie. And look, I can't speak on how well he spoke Tamil because I can't speak Tamil myself. But from what I've read online and stuff like that, it sounds like he actually did a really good job in actually being able to speak another language really well. So credit to him for sort of becoming more of a pan-Indian star. He did that movie earlier this year, Doomam, which was kind of a not so great movie. But that was like a Malayalam, Kannada mix movie. So he's trying to I guess he's trying to expand his reach.
Pushpa, that he went into Telugu, and then
so good
I think his first Tamil film might have been
Vikram.
Was it Super Deluxe?
He was in Vikram as well, right?
Vikram and Super Deluxe was before Vikram, right?
Right.
I think so. Yeah,
that was another great movie. Oh my God, he was great in that.
So I agree with you, Amit. I give him credit for being willing to be a despicable character, and I don't blame him because he brought whatever shades there are to this character, he brought with his performance. I think it's more the writing that this character itself is just so one note. And as you point out, when you start at that point, like, I mean, the movie's not, I guess we're just supposed to hate him from the beginning. We're just waiting for the revenge. We're waiting for the comeuppance. We're waiting for his ultimate humiliation. Is all that,
And it wasn't even that ultimate to me. Like,
no, it wasn't.
The ending wasn't even that terrible. I mean, for him, I guess it kind of was, but I wasn't like, he got his. I was like, I guess he got it. I don't know,
Yeah,
I guess
it
he
was,
did.
it was an interesting decision they made. And that's probably more of a pot discussion. I'm not sure if we want to have that now or later, but I think the movie, because like I think watching the trailer for this movie, I was like, wow, this looks like a bit of a revenge sort of plot, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a scene where they're both sitting down and it's like something's going to go down. And I'm like, wow, this is going to be a massive action scene. We never get any action in this movie, much at all, to be honest. It becomes
Mostly
a political...
just some action against chairs. I think there was a lot of
Yeah.
chair throwing.
a lot of furniture damage, but yeah, and animal violence. That's about all. We don't actually get hand to hand or people fighting each other that much. It's
Children and animals. Easiest targets in the world, but these strong, well-abled men did just fine.
I'm going to rinse it around and say there were some good points. Okay. I thought Keerthy Suresh, who plays the love interest of the son of the title character, she, first of all, I've never seen her so unglamorous. Just like she was just like practical t-shirt and jeans, like through the entire film. And I thought she was great. Like, it's a minor role, but even so, I enjoyed seeing her in something like this. I was telling Kathy before we started that maybe my favorite film that Keerthy Suresh has done is Maamannan, where she plays this glamorous period actress, right? So she's done all different kinds of roles. I thought this was interesting. That, again, I normally see her in Telugu films, so it was interesting to see her in this project. And Vadivelu, who plays the title character, the father, he is someone that we have seen in character roles and comedic roles, and to see him get such an interesting part, it's so like we see him. He's already a member of the assembly. He's already a politician, and yet some of the most, he's trying to inspire the young people, but yet you could just see this generational divide. And I think that was a lot about what this movie was about, that his son has not spoken to him for 15 years because of that rock incident and kids being killed and whatever. Like the fact that he felt like his father is constantly compromising and also just kowtowing to these other leaders in the town, and like that he doesn't even realize the scene, this confrontation scene. To me, that was the key of the movie, where it's like to sit or not to sit. Like, it was like the fact that Fahadh Faasil is asking the son to sit, which, like, oh no, your father never sits. He even if we asked him, he would never sit. And he's like, but did you ever ask him? And that was one of the one fight scenes, right? Was just
correct.
Yep.
And then later, when Lal, who is playing the chief minister, talks to both of them, and the son bursts into the chief minister's office because he's assuming his father is being humiliated again, and he's like, no. I was, like, your father, were you worried that I was going to ask your father to sit? He's sitting here, like, just, but that's kind of the point of the film, is that you're not going to solve anything just by constantly having bouts of violence. It's only going to be solved through the ballot box. And so I felt like it was an uplifting message in end, but the execution of some of the points, like, I was just wondering to myself, I was like, is he showing these animal violent scenes so long because audiences in Tamil Nadu would just be so inured to physical violence between people that they would just discount it and it wouldn't have an impact? There's a torture scene of the actor Katir and Perio and Perimal, like I'm still shuddering thinking about it. Okay.
Yeah.
So he has directed scenes of violence against people that are incredibly impactful, but that's not what this message was. And I just don't know if we needed to. Literally, like, I feel like he was hitting us with the sledgehammer.
Exactly. Like I was getting him with the sledgehammer. It's like not subtle filmmaking at all.
Too much and too long. Like, I was like, if Fahad had, I'm not saying he shouldn't kill the dog. That was a key point for his character, or whatever, the message. But 2 swipes of the sledgehammer. Seriously, he needs to.
Or how about just shoot it?
It's like
he does that a few times too. That's kind of interesting too. Is the symbolism that was kind of beautiful. Was it didn't end well, but I love the sea of dogs gracefully following him everywhere. So you can kind of see that as like, that's sort of like his powers. He has people, dogs following him. Then at the end, you have this sea of dogs running toward him, and they have this great scene where they just run past him now. They're like, you lost, they're gone, they're going, even the dogs. And he tries to shoot a few, but he knows it's pointless, and he just is like, and he kind of sits. I love that last shot of him. Like, that's where you're like, that's what this whole movie led to this great shot, which is what he does so well, just looking right at the camera, and you get this everything on his face, right? But all these dogs just running past him, and he finally just gave up and went, that's it. But it just had it, and then little tiny pig that lived, the little tiny. So of course, all my stuff has to do with the animals. I did really like how the woman, and you could see the symbolism here too, where she saves a baby pig and she's nursing it and she's taking care of it and she's keeping it in the house. She's keeping it safe, like a child almost. And at the end, it shows him kind of walking around. He's building his life back again. He has the baby pig again. And so, like I said, it had this uplifting message at the end, but it was so dark, brutal to get through that I feel like the message, it wasn't enough for what they put us through. It was like, we needed more payoff. Go ahead.
And it really took some time to get there, I feel. Like, I think the first half was like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, despite, all the hardship we have to get through, I'm like, let this at least be worth it at the end. Let there be a really good finale, let there be a great climax. It's okay, I guess. It's a great message, and I agree completely with what you were saying, Melanie, regarding, not choosing violence, but I guess it just didn't work that well as an entertainment piece. But
it becomes like, okay, how many election films have we seen, right? It was
correct, yeah. But I will say though, like, I mean, production wise, this movie looked beautiful. Like, some of the choices they made with the black and white background. Obviously, I don't know if Netflix funded this or not, but it looked like very high production value.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
So yeah, and obviously, I also want to say about Keerthy Suresh. I've not seen much of her, but I actually appreciated that they actually gave her a bit of a role as well. Like, at the start, it seemed like she was just going to be a love interest and not much more. But then later on, she actually becomes, defiant. She stands up for herself. They go to that scene. Also, I didn't know like funerals were such like meeting places. Like, they meet at funerals like half the time.
That
have,
was true.
Goals and discussions. And I was like, okay, they're coming to another funeral to discuss something, but she normally stands up for him, and she's like controlling the situation. So I'm like, I really appreciated that. Fleshing out her character a bit more than rather just being a pretty face, at the start. So I think they did a good job with that.
Point. Yeah, that's a really
and I thought she was instrumental also during the election. It was like Fahadh Faasil's character was trying to physically block them from visiting any of the villages that or areas or neighborhoods that to try to make speeches or just meet with voters. And so she's like, well, it's a modern day. They can just directly beam messages through social media. And that was one of the most meaningful scenes where Vadivelu's character just speaks directly into the camera to the voters and makes an appeal. So I appreciated her character. She wasn't just like, oh, here's the naive do-gooder who doesn't really know what's going on, right? Yeah. Like, we've seen that character before, and that wasn't her. And I like that.
Yeah, it was. It was a very clearly defined, the powerful against the powerless, who was the earnest one, who was the corrupt one, very, very clear distinction on like who you were rooting for. And I love too, where it's like, they have these big violent outbursts and like, we're going to go back and kick their ass. And they go back there and destroy. And you're like, then what's going to happen now? They're going to come back. They're going to kick your ass.
Right.
And you're like, I was like, they're not just going to stop because you went and destroyed their house. It's like, they're going to keep going.
Right.
So it shows you the kind of pointlessness, like this, like, and also even our character, our hero, he couldn't control himself in a way. Like, they're like, I got to do it. Like, he was a little bit out of control till he kind of like started coming down and realizing what the cycle of violence that was happening.
Correct.
But it was a lot of work to get to the message. Ultimately at the end about don't choose violence. Yeah, but you just basically completely assaulted us with violence the whole time.
But I mean, also, the title character, Maamannan, like he doesn't even in a way realize the power that he has. And I think that part of it is his story of kind of realizing, he felt like almost like he was gifted, as a consolation, this political, but he had won elections multiple times, right? And so obviously he had been in that position for a long time. And it just sort of his realizing, okay, I do have power. I do have a way to help all these people, but it's just kind of always, they're like trying to say too many things. It was kind of all muddied, a muddied message. So
I think with his character, I don't know if this is right or not, but I think because he was from a lower caste who then came up in power, I think the message behind what his story was basically like, despite whatever power he's in, because of his caste, he can't actually make that much of a difference. So I think that's sort of what it was trying to tell us. So I think that conflict was good. They had some really they had some good pieces to play with here, especially with the father-son relationship as well. Like, how do they balance that? Not
That's
talking
true.
for 15 years.
Right.
And I think they did that pretty well. Like, I think the actors both played pretty well job, especially the comedian Vadivelu. He was fantastic. I thought he was really good. And probably my favorite part of the movie, to be honest, because I can't say Fahad's my favorite part of this movie.
Every time I came on the screen, I was stressed because I didn't know what's he gonna do now.
Exactly.
I agree. I really enjoyed the father-son relationship and how it changed over the course of the movie, from them not even speaking to working together and respecting each other. By the end of the film was awesome. I also thought, like, here's an example. The director is having sledgehammers on animals and all of this, right? But one of the most terrifying scenes is when Maamanan's wife is cowering and hiding under the bed, right? Like, even if everyone says it's okay, you can come out, like, she was great. She was so, like, let's look at that. Like, there was no violence in that scene, but the threat of violence and just her terror came across so much more than, and was so much more impactful to me than seeing Fahad swing a sledgehammer. So
you're seeing the fallout from all of this. It's like, it isn't just like who's getting hit physically. It's like everyone around them witnessing everything and being scared all the time. It's like they're also victims. So it was a heavy duty film for sure. It was a lot.
So I just have a mixed reaction. It sounds like all of us are kind of in a similar place with this film. It's on Netflix, so I'm not telling someone here, go out and spend $12 to go see this film. It's already on Netflix. I think we're getting, we gave plenty of spoilers. We're giving you a warning of some of the really horrific scenes that maybe you want to be heavy-handed on the fast forward button.
A lot. You'll know when they're coming. It's not a surprise. Basically, every time
I think it's good that this movie's on streaming so soon, because if I had seen it in the cinema, I'm sorry, I would have probably walked out within the first 5 minutes, because I couldn't. I can't. That's and I don't know how much warning people were given. Like, say for instance, if a family goes in to watch this, not knowing that this is going to happen, and you have the you get through. If you get through the animal cruelty somehow with the dogs, the next scene within the next 5 minutes is kids being like throwing rocks out for about 15 minutes. You're gonna be like, I can't do this.
It's like, this is not fun. I don't want this. I don't want it. It's a hard movie to watch for sure. I feel like there were a million different ways they could have depicted the same story without being so repellent visually. I just think you didn't need to have that in your story or in your visuals. We don't need to witness that to get it. You don't need to show
I think that's the thing. This movie, and in some way, I respect it for being so bold in showing us all of this, because they could have easily just Fahad could have walked in. Fahad could have walked in with a dog and walked in without a dog with the blood on him. That could have been enough for us to imply that, or a gunshot, and that's enough for us to imply that, all right, something's happened. We can use our own imagination in our own world as to how far we want to take that. But this movie is like, no, you're going to take a look at it. You're going to see what's going to happen here.
I will say, like I said, I would recommend the other two films that this director has done, and I'm not saying that they are easy watches sometimes either, but I will be looking forward to this director's next film, because I think he has a different point of view. This is not just regular mass entertainment. It's something with a message, and it's a different point of view. So I celebrate that, and also, give more character actors like Vadivelu an interesting meaty role like this. I would love to see more like that too as well.
Yeah, true.
All right, I'm really pleased that both of you could join me today for this collaboration, and hopefully we'll have many more discussions. Amit is new to my viewers. Tell us a little bit about your channel.
Well, thanks so much for having me on the show. It's just phenomenal to talk to both of you about this sort of, this movie, but in general movies.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's yeah, Mike, we got a channel called D54. We basically look at Malayalam movies. So the Fahad link was very strong in this one, so this made a lot of sense. But branching out a little bit more to see what else is sort of out there. But definitely, our channel is really all about sort of Malayalam movies, and we're doing it for about 7 months now, and we're sort of really knee deep into Malayalam films. We do some of the new stuff. We're doing a lot of the older stuff too now. It's becoming more an exploration about sort of the cinema and sort of what they have to offer. And the more we get into it, we sort of start to see, okay, this is another chapter with this other actor who's got all this catalog, and we've never heard of this guy before. So it's interesting to go on this journey.
Familiar journey. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
We all love movies. We're loving Indian movies. It's like we have a lot in common.
Yes.
That's how I look at it.
Exactly
We all
right. And this
share
has
the
been
wealth.
so much fun.
It's so much
This has been so much fun.
So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah, it's
definitely
awesome.
be back.
So, and Amit did a collaboration recently with
Yes.
Kathy on her channel. I can't remember. What did you guys talk about? Was it a trailer reaction? Oh, it was.
We did a Leo reaction
Yeah.
for Anthony Doss, and we also did. I think it's coming out today. We did that Fahadh Faasil film. The
right.
Yes.
what was it called? It was the little thief one.
Thandi Muslim Dikshakshiyam.
Oh,
So I mean,
the animal
yeah.
So good.
I mean, yes. If you want to see Fahad in a role where he's actually really good, that's
oh my god,
a good
he's
one.
so good
That
at
is
that.
a complicated, nuanced role. So yeah, that's where I'm coming from with Fahad criticism. It's like, I've seen you do these roles. This is not anything special.
He brings
well,
depth.
it's special, but it's not.
Exactly. He brings depth. Well, there is no depth, but this character was really hard. But he did bring the Fahad magic, but he was tainting it because of the writing. That's all. It wasn't his fault.
He brought the intensity as he always does.
That's right.
Anyway,
Always.
So check out Kathy's channel, Cinemondo Podcast, for that. And also, as longtime viewers of mine know, Kathy and I are doing a collaboration, sort of Indian Cinema 101, as we revisit.
I'm learning.
Right. Like, I just posted today my introduction of Kathy to Rajnikant and the movie Telepathy.
Wow.
So look for that as well.
That's right.
All right.
Oh my God.
Thanks,
All right.
Simon and Kathy. Thanks for joining us. All right.
Thank you so much.